Scottish Fiesta Championship race number 1 is lined up behind me in the holding bay. Conditions still iffy, clear skies in front of me, rain it looks like, or maybe even snow behind me. Let's wander over and speak to our pole position man, which is Scott Robertson. We saw him on the podium at the first round, and if I can sneak in the door here, I'll have a quick chat. Scott, it's gone well so far.
Yeah, very well actually.
Qualified on pole position, the two joint championship leaders are away sort of 5th, 6th on the grid. This should, in theory, be a walk in the park for you. Do you like that, how I jinxed it?
Yeah, commentator's curse almost, isn't it?
Dry conditions yesterday. Now, it's wet, but it seems to keep snowing.
Yeah, no, I'm not used to these conditions. I don't really know.
You did have a wee run out in the wet at the first round. Confident enough you've got the right setting?
Yeah, well, we're quickest in the wet in the first round, so we're sort of going back to where we were and just hope for the best.
Good luck. Hopefully you can claw some points back on these guys.
Definitely, I need them.
We'll have a wander back down, and as I mentioned, there's a bad qualifying session. If you follow me down this way, we have got Dave Colville and George Orr, who are the two championship leaders. We'll speak to Dave first of all in the 52 car, and it's joint for the championship. If I can squeeze in here for 2 seconds. Dave, joint championship leader by my rough mathematics, but I'm going to put it bluntly, made a mess of qualifying.
Absolutely, I made a complete pig's ear of it, to be honest. Overdrove, made mistakes all over the place. I'll try and make up for it today though, hopefully.
Wet conditions?
I think it's going to be dry by the time we're midway through the race, hopefully.
Curbs are going to certainly be wet. It's not going to be the lap times we see in the dry, I don't think, Dave.
Definitely not, but the race, the lap times don't matter so much in the race. It's all about where you finish.
Good luck.
Thank you very much, Joe.
There we go. We'll leave it at that. I'm going to hand it upstairs to the guys to run you through the grid.
Round 3 of the Scottish Fiesta Championship for 2012. Pole position going to Scott Robertson, with Andy Allen alongside, Blair Murdoch and Dave Colville on row 2, George Orr and XR2 poleman Peter Cruikshank completing the 3rd row. Row 4, Wayne McCauley, then Stuart Haston in the last of the STs, Mike Strong and Hamish Smart on row 5, row 6, Stephen Emsley and Craig Taylor. Stuart Robertson on row 7, Chris Hanna's next to him, then it's Grant Anderson and John Sheridan, with Stephen Russell completing the 17-car grid. Two classes of cars then, the STs at the front of the grid, the first time we've seen them this year. I should say this is the first year that they've been off the front of the grid. We saw them in event 1 in April off the front. The XR2s behind. Great start then from the front of the grid and the outside of the front row. Andrew Allen grabs the lead as they go down into Duffer's Dip. Scott Robertson in second. Good start by George Orr, who's up challenging Dave Colville. Blair Murdoch is there in the mix as well. Stuart Haston right in the thick of the battle for the lead of the XR2s, and Wayne McCauley down the inside of Haston chasing the XR2 pole position man and joint championship leader Peter Cruikshank in the red XR2. Those two tied on points, 45 points after round 2, McCauley and Cruikshank. So all to play for between those two. The ST championship lead shared between Dave Colville and George Orr. We'll talk more about the championship points as the race goes on, but everybody away safe and well as we look at Hamish Smart in car number 70, 3rd in the XR2 Championship after the April round, and Scott Robertson having a look at the outside line here. Robertson on the outside, right of shot, left of shot, Andy Allen. It's his first meeting this year, Andy Allen. Now look at the battle here. Stuart Haston trying to pick off the XR2s. He's going to go through on the inside of Peter Cruikshank, and the danger here, yes, there it is. Wayne McCauley follows him through. Good piece of opportunistic driving from Wayne McCauley into the lead of the XR2 race at the expense of Peter Cruikshank. The veteran's now got to give chase, but Wayne McCauley through into the lead. And on paper, if things stay the way they are, it's going to be the championship lead for Wayne McCauley. They're both on 45 points coming into this round. Stuart Haston, of course, the damp conditions suiting the ST well. He's going to try and tag himself on the back of the 5 cars in front. Just how competitive is it? You look at that, Blair Murdoch down in 5th position. And normally we could expect to see Blair up there challenging for race wins, if not podia, but at the moment he's stuck behind George Orr. Just gives you an indication of what a strong driver lineup we have. A small but very select driver lineup in the STs at the moment. They will continue to grow, I suspect, as the numbers of the XR2s will dip away. The older cars, of course, more difficult to get hold of the parts, and that makes it more expensive as well, as Andy Allen nearly throws it all away going into the hairpin. Scott Robertson just avoids clouting him and goes up the inside, and Shawley has got his nose in front as they climb up the hill. So Robertson and Allen side by side. Robertson right of shot, inside line, now left of shot. The green stripes identify that car. Down into Duffer's Dip. Dave Colville sensing perhaps that there might be a win in the offing here from third place, but Scott Robertson annexes lead position. George Orr in fourth in black. That's the scrap for the lead in the championship. Third and fourth here, the lead in the championship, because in terms of points, Colville and Orr joint leaders on 45 coming into the race. Third place shared by 3 cars. That's how tight it is. Stuart Haston, Scott Robertson, Blair Murdoch, all on 28 points. So very much all to play for in this one. Andy Allen's going to be kicking himself for that moment down into the hairpin. Of course, the disadvantage is if things do get wetter or there's oil down, the first car is the one that's going to have the problem. The others are going to see the first car have that issue. We're on board with Stephen Russell, starting at the back of the grid. Car in front, significantly the Newcomers Championship leader after the first event of the year. That's Chris Hanna, qualified 14th, and Stephen Russell, he must have qualified a little bit out of position and manages to pick off a place as they head down into the hairpin. Wonderful place to come and watch the racing here. So Stephen Russell making progress. Meanwhile, we go back to the race leaders. Still Scott Robertson out front. Andrew Allen putting the pressure on him. As I said, Allen's first race meeting of the season, the first 2 rounds, and off goes Craig Taylor. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Is he going to be able to rejoin the circuit? If he does it quick enough, he'll have a bit of an advantage through that, but he'll have lost momentum, to be fair, as we go back to the leaders in the STs. Now, problem there, Stuart Robertson, you might remember him getting involved in the shenanigans on the first lap of round 1 in the April round that we had here, and that's lost him an awful lot of time. You can see the leaders closing in on him now as Andrew Allen goes to the outside line in the ICR Motorsport prepared car. Ian Cowie Racing, based here at Knockhill, and he looks at the outside line. That's good, clean, fair racing from the two of them. A little bit of a paint trade perhaps as they go up the hill, and Andrew Allen back into lead position. Allen leads, Scott Robertson in second place. Colville is there in third, and Mike Strong just going through the picture, third in the XR2. So fourth position at the moment is Craig, and being told that he's going to get a penalty for gaining an unfair advantage. I think that might have been where he went on the grass and rejoined the circuit. Said he might have lost momentum, but I think he gained some unfair time there, so time penalty to be added on at the end for him. As we go back to championship leader, third place in this race, it's Dave Colville. You can see he's not closing the gap on the race leaders. Still in the lead of the XR2s is Wayne McCauley, but we go back down and see Craig Taylor and the number 70 car of Hamish Smart still involved in the mix. Hamish Smart third in the championship, just nipping past Stuart Robertson, keeps to the outside of the circuit there, so good driving again from Stuart, very well aware of the faster cars coming through. So Craig Taylor at the moment running fourth in class. There's Mike Strong in the red with silver stripes car. And Hamish Smart pulls the move on the inside line as they come up towards Carlu corner. And is he going to be through? Has he got the momentum here? I think possibly Craig Taylor having just a little bit more momentum there as we go back. Andrew Allen still out front in the 71 car. Scott Robertson in second position. Back marker traffic beckoning. I say traffic, it's one car, isn't it? It's going to be John Sheridan in car number 76, running in 16th place. And still Scott Robertson applying the pressure. Fastest man on circuit is Scott in second position. Past Sheridan, keeps to the inside line to allow the faster cars through. A quick glance in his mirrors will tell him that he's got Dave Colville and George Orr behind him as well. Look how much ground the leaders have pulled out over Dave Colville. Stephen Russell takes another spin. Oh dear, what is it about yellow cars today? So Stephen Russell off the circuit. I'm sure he'll be able to rejoin from there, but the race leaders still there. Scott Robertson's dropped back just a little bit because it's Andrew Allen who takes the checkered flag. Andy Allen wins the race. Scott Robertson in second position. Third place is going to go to championship leader Dave Colville, who gets the extra points over arch rival George Orr. The XR2 win goes the way of Wayne McCauley, but let's take a look at the official result, including some of those time penalties that we were speaking about during the race. The overall win going to Andy Allen, Scott Robertson in second from Dave Colville, Stuart Haston fourth from Blair Murdoch, then Wayne McCauley winning the XR2s in sixth place. Seventh goes to Peter Cruikshank, then Mike Strong from Hamish Smart, Grant Anderson 10th, George Orr down in 11th place, and then Stephen Russell in 12th. Stephen Elmsley next from Chris Hanna, Craig Taylor 15th from John Sheridan and Stuart Robertson.
Race winner for the Fiestas, Andy Allen. We've not seen you up here for a couple of years. You turn up and you take the win.
Yeah, good result, yeah. I was a bit apprehensive. I've never been out in the Yokohamas before, we were in slicks before, but they seemed quite good, so happy with that result for sure, yeah.
Weather conditions certainly not the easiest.
Tricky for a start, but then there was a dry line towards the end. I wasn't pushing as hard as I could have been, but, you know, didn't want to put it in the wall first time out, you know, so.
And it was a bit, it got quite tight, quite close with Scott as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, Scott was going to have me in the pit wall coming up the straight, and I was clapped my mirror, closed my mirror, so when I came out of Clarkson, I didn't see where he was, and unfortunately he took the back of my car, and that was the end of the race.
You kept it on the road, and you've got that win.
Yeah, I've got that win. I'm happy.
Well done.
Thanks very much.
Welcome to another episode of Racing No Filter. Joining me in sunny California, Bill Wood, and down in sunny Florida, Peter Keene.
We're going to take a look at some of the products HPD has created for the 2012 Honda Civic, and specifically we're going to show you how to install an adjustable sway bar.
Until then, folks out there, you take care.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new GoRacingTV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Round 4 of the Scottish Fiesta Championship for 2012, and the grid based on the race 1 results with Andrew Allen on pole position, Scott Robertson alongside, row 2 Dave Colville and Stuart Haston, row 3 Blair Murdoch and XR2 winner Wayne McCauley on the outside. On to row 4, it's Peter Cruikshank and Mike Strong, then Hamish Smart and Grant Anderson, George Orr with a lot of work to do from 11th, Stephen Russell 12th, 13th on the grid Stephen Emsley, alongside him Chris Hanna, then Craig Taylor, John Sheridan and Stuart Robertson completing the field. Countdown to the race well underway, and the significant thing for the STs is that we've had 3 races and 3 different winners so far. A very competitive championship. Said that in race 1. The statistics of course don't lie. A little bit of creeping going on there from Stephen Russell in car number 12, but he gets away well. So too does Andrew Allen from the front row of the grid. Scott Robertson slotting in behind in second place. Dave Colville looking for third position. Stuart Haston with a great start as well. The XR2's away well, but Peter Cruikshank being swamped there by Mike Strong in car number 5, who's looking for second position. Side by side they are as they go down into Scotsman. Cruikshank with the inside line. Is he going to come out with second position in the XRs? No, Mike Strong second. Wayne McCauley about 3 cars in front of them in the XR2s. So good start by McCauley, great start by Mike Strong, but out front it's Andrew Allen leading. This is the view from the third place car of Dave Colville, championship leader. What can he do about these 2 machines in front? Scott Robertson, inside line here at his lots. That's going to be the outside when they get to the hairpin. Chopping across, trying to grab the line. And Andy Allen, well, he was forced down into second position there, you've got to say. They weren't even into the corner. Dave Colville wide, very late on the brakes. Is he going to be able to take second position? Allen's there. Colville chops back on the inside just ahead of Stuart Haston. Right in the mix as well is Wayne McCauley, who's having a fantastic race. The leading XR2 up with the STs. It'd be great if we could see Wayne maybe move up, or with Peter Cruikshank into the STs as well at some point. Sad to wave goodbye to some of the XRs, of course, but you know, it's about progress, and the STs giving us some great racing. The National Championship also giving us good racing too. as we go on board with Peter Cruikshank, still chasing Wayne McCauley out of the hairpin. Be interesting to see whether Stuart Haston can keep touch with George Orr. Peter Cruikshank pulls out of the slipstream, outside line. He's carried good momentum out of the hairpin, and he's got through, surely. Now, is he going to be able to get his nose in front as they come down into Duffer's Dip? Now, we can't see here, but he's grabbed the apex. That suggests to me that he's got the lead in the XR2s. Peter Cruikshank, the veteran of the championship, always a very respected racer, great character, and he's back into lead position. He wants to make it 2-2 in terms of wins. He wants to tie the points up. And if he does, it's going to be it's going to be 90 points apiece as they leave round 4. The STs is going to be slightly different. Dave Colville will be maintaining the championship lead, but look at Scott Robertson away ahead of Dave Colville. This is going to put Colville on 81 points, Scott Robertson on 73, then George Orr third on 67. Blair Murdoch running well in 85. He's going to be fourth in the championship, fourth in the race at the moment. Let's just put the sums to one side for the minute and focus on this 10-lap race. We had a couple of drivers lapped in the first race of the day. The lap times here, well, of course that was because of shenanigans on circuit, but the lap times suggesting we're not going to see any drivers lapped in this one, as George Orr, who's had a good climb through the field, up into 5th position in class from stone last, some way back down the order. George starting in 11th on the grid, so he's had a bit of overtaking to do, dealing with those faster STs. And remember the faster XR2s. Remember the faster XR2 drivers have got quite a bit of race experience. Certainly Peter Cruikshank has. Wayne McCauley, a little bit of a seasoned driver now as well, knows what he's doing. So they're not easy pickings for the STs making their way through the field. So it's been a good opening few laps from George Orr. Dave Colville then, Andy Allen in 3rd place, Stuart Haston getting a little bit excited, lights on, thinking about having a look at George Orr, and he might be able to pass Blair Murdoch here on the inside. Orr passes Murdoch, he's through, he's into, or is he? Very close they come out. You can see Wayne McCauley and Peter Cruikshank virtually tied together with a piece of string. They're having an absolutely superb race. George Orr can't deal with Blair Murdoch. As we said, it's a very competitive field, and Stuart Haston up with George Orr. Now bear in mind that George Orr won the opening round of the year, so Stuart has to be pleased to be dicing with him, and he's all over the back of it at the moment, putting pressure on, challenging for that 5th position in class. Blair Murdoch in 85 ahead of him, and then the XR2 battle between Cruikshank and McCauley. Mike Strong still 3rd in the XR2s. Craig Taylor having a better run in this one and is in 4th position. Hopefully keeping it on circuit too in this one too, as we go through Clark Curve, Carlin Corner as it's branded, down here through Hislops. You can see the XR2s in the background, some way clear at the moment of Mike Strong, who's running in 3rd place. I don't think there's too much doubt about the podium for the XR2s, but certainly some very keen racing going on here from the STs once again. Now, top newcomer at the moment is Craig Taylor. So, Craig, in his first meeting this year, of course I forgot, with the bouncy moment, we could maybe explain the offs in race number 1 for a lack of appearance at the first meeting of the season. It was his first one. So Steve Taylor, Craig Taylor going down the inside of Stephen Russell. You can see the newcomer insignia on the back of the car. Russell giving chase through over the blind brow and heading down towards Carlin Corner. They go again. So Russell and Taylor, that's the 10th and 11th position on circuit, those two dicing for, as we go back up to the battle of the 5th and 6th place. And at the moment you see Stuart Haston very keen to try and depose George Orr at the moment. Blair Murdoch in front as well. So Orr trying to get a crack on and attack the 4th position car. Scott Robertson though is very much away. Fastest lap again for Scott Robertson in 1st position in this one. 2nd and fastest lap in race 1. Really settling into the STs very nicely. And it'll be the, let me see, fastest laps. Dave Colville fastest lap in round 1. Scott Robertson, if he can hang on to that benchmark at the moment, it's going to be 3 fastest laps on the bounce. Maybe setting a benchmark out to the other drivers. Notice of intent for the championship this year. Certainly he's clear, not getting much coverage in this race because 5th place here is the one that's most keenly contested. Haston with his lights on, trying to hassle George Orr, who led the championship after round 1. XR2 still enjoying their battle. Peter Cruikshank hanging on to it at the moment. 6 overall in races 1 and 2. 7th, of course, in the race we saw earlier on today. And Haston up the inside line here. Is he going to be able to make this one stick on George Orr? It's going to be a little bit of a sprint up over the line. You can see the driving standards flag going out to a couple of drivers again. Some of the guys gaining a bit of an unfair advantage over certain parts of the track, but Dave Colville, not one of those drivers doing that. He's still there in 2nd place. Not a lot he can do about Scott Robertson at the moment. Robertson breaking into the 62.853. Dave Colville's best lap time is 63. Not that far away, but not close enough at the moment to be able to hunt him down. He's still got Andrew Allen down behind him in car number 71. John Sheridan, car number 76, and Struan Robertson dicing over 16th position at the moment. Struan, these are the two guys that we saw lapped in race number 1. John Sheridan making good progress. Back to car number 12, Stephen Russell, still trying to chase down Craig Taylor for 4th position in the XR2s. But the race leaders still pretty much there, and on to the last lap. It looks like Scott Robertson is going to be our 4th different winner, but we look at the statistics, it's going to be a 3rd fastest lap on the bounce for Scott Robertson. This is going to move him up to 2nd in the championship behind Dave Colville, who is there, the championship leader, who will stay championship leader in car number 52. Goes a little bit wide there. Andy Allen is putting pressure on him. Andrew's first meeting of the year, a 1st and 3rd place it looks like it's going to be for him. He won't be too unhappy about that. But Scott Robertson, we've got 6 drivers in the STs this weekend, and 4 of them have won races. That's how close and competitive this championship is. If you're thinking about coming into this level of motorsport, what better place to do it? We've got some real good drivers here. It's a very tight championship, but the man that's dominated with 2nd place in race 1, 2 fastest laps and a win in race 2 is going to be Scott Robertson. It was Andy Allen that beat him in race 1, but Scott Robertson makes it okay in this one, buzzes the pit wall. Robertson takes the win. Scott Robertson the winner. Dave Colville, the championship leader, takes 2nd position. Andy Allen in 3rd. Blair Murdoch will take 4th place, and Peter Cruikshank wins the XR2s to continue to share the championship lead with Wayne McCauley. Scott Robertson the winner from Dave Colville, Andy Allen 3rd, Blair Murdoch in 4th place from George Orr, who fended off Stuart Aston. What a great race those two had for 5th and 6th position. Then the XR2 winner, Peter Cruikshank from Wayne McCauley, Mike Stroll on the XR podium, Craig Taylor in 10th place from Stephen Russell. Following him, Hamish Smart, then Grant Anderson, Stephen Emsley, Chris Hanna 15th from Struan Robertson, who got the better of John Sheridan to take 16th place.
And the winner, that makes up for the first race, Scott.
Makes up for a lot of things. That was a rough start to the season, and that just makes all the time and effort worthwhile to get it right.
It was a rough start. You had a pretty bad result in the first round, or one bad result in the first round, and obviously Dave just plugging away on the podium the whole time, so the points don't really budge that much.
Yeah, well, for the championship, I'm just going to have to keep doing that. And I just hope that he gets a hiccup along the way, but
it got quite tight as well at the very beginning with Andy Allen as well, a little bit of contact. Or near contact, should we call it?
What contact? You should know.
I never seen it, I only heard. Well done on the result. We'll see you back plugging away at Dave's championship lead.
Yeah, I just want to say a big thanks to my sponsors, Cardown Creameries and Robertson's Quality Foods. Without them, it'd be a lot more difficult.
Thanks guys, there you go.